what does it mean to be chosen to be here and represent Auburn?
It's such a great honor. It really is. It's one of those things that you can't really put into words. Having the trust from your team and to have Coach choose me to be a part of this and to be able to represent such a great university, a university that I've fallen in love with over the past 4 years is really incredible.
Luke, I know tough to kind of cliff notes this answer, but what has it been like, your experience at Auburn, given the peaks and valleys?
Yeah, I think it's set me up for life. It really has. As you all know, probably better than I mean, life definitely throws curveballs at you, and it's the way in which you respond. And I feel like I've had so many positive moments. People like to focus on the negative moments, but I've had so many positive moments here at Auburn, and I wouldn't change anything for the world. And it's really set me up for life. So yeah, like you said, those peaks and valleys, how you respond to that, it's made me into the man I am today, and hopefully it's made me into a better husband and future father.
Obviously you're here representing the school. What has there been a toughest moment, and what allowed you to kind of persevere?
Yeah, I mean, last year was a tough moment. Everybody knows that. What we experienced midway through the year was something that not many college football teams experience, but it was the way in which we responded, the way in which Auburn University and the Auburn family responded. Having a sellout crowd at Texas A&M after being that bad is something that you don't see very often, and it's something that I'm blessed to be a part of. We're building off of it still to this day, and that was a turning point. That was a very low point in my career, and it's led me to here. So, great.
What's it going to take to bring Auburn back this year?
Really, it's going to take a winning culture, and it's going to take everybody being bought in. I think there's always a challenge every single year with every college football program, and that's to get everybody bought in, moving the same direction. I think we've done a good job about that. I think we've built relationships, and we've had moments where we've brought the young guys along, brought the new transfers along, and we've got some really good leadership on the team. So I'm excited for it. I think that's what it's going to take to bring us back to how prestigious this university is. That's what's going to bring us back.
You went through some difficult times with your dad passing away. What did it mean to you? One, look at these strength T-shirts.
Right.
And having to deal with that, what did that do? How difficult was it?
Right. It was absolutely the most difficult time of my life. But it also has made me into who I am today. It's helped mold me. Seeing someone at their lowest point physically, and ALS does that to you. I've got the ALS awareness ribbon on for a reason. It's a horrible disease, and it takes everything from your body. And someone who's a big football player like my dad and a big, strong, loud guy, for everything to be taken from you is something that is heartbreaking. But to see how he responded, to see how he led our family, even at his lowest physical point, it was something that I'll never forget. And some of his last days, I learned some of the most valuable lessons I'll ever learn in my life, and hopefully take that in leadership with this team and with my family at home.
Luke, I think you were on the last Auburn team to win the Iron Bowl. What would it take to get that done this year, and does it help that it's at home?
Always helps when it's at home. I can tell you that. I love playing away games. As a football guy, I love it. It's cool to go to different universities, different stadiums, and get that atmosphere. But there's nothing like Jordan-Hare Stadium in the fall. So, yeah, just everybody being locked into the whole season and not taking another game for granted. You got to think about it. I mean, Iron Bowls, it can happen. You can win the Iron Bowl or lose the Iron Bowl at any given moment, not just in the game. We need to build that momentum throughout the season. Every game is going to be a challenge, starting with the first game. And that's how we got to take it game by game, step by step, and just stay in the process.
The last couple of years you had Tank. Even when things weren't going well, you could always kind of feed Tank. How different will this offense be? There's still questions at quarterback, and Hugh addressed Jarquez. He can't really talk about that yet.
Yeah.
I mean, so you've got some issues. How different can this offense look, and how would you like to see it develop?
I think the offense still looks really good, which really speaks on our versatility. We've got a bunch of new pieces, a bunch of old pieces, and guys who can do multiple things: wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. And I know I've talked to Elijah about the defense the same way over there. So I think just the versatility of our team is going to carry us forward, even though we may not have the one spotlight guy. We've got a bunch of guys that can do a bunch of different things, and oftentimes that's better than having one guy.
A lot of people have asked the question about the impact of locker room and NIL on locker rooms, yours specifically.
Yeah.
One guy getting a lot, some other guy maybe not getting as much. How big a challenge is that to you?
I think it's obviously a challenge. Humans, we're going to think about those things, but Coach Freeze has addressed us and done a really good job with it. He has said, operate out of your blessing and not your entitlement. And I've carried that with me because NIL, as weird as the whole times and everything are, it is a blessing for us. I've been very fortunate and blessed to be able to do things for my family that I wouldn't have without NIL. So not worrying about other people, not worrying about who this guy or that guy's getting, what he's getting, operating out of my blessing and not my entitlement. So that's been a huge thing for me.
What are your thoughts about Texas and Oklahoma joining the league?
I think it'll be interesting. It's definitely something. So many new things now that I'm like getting toward the end of my career. It's so weird. Like when I came in, NIL wasn't a thing. When I came in, the transfer portal, it wasn't a thing. So all these different things happening, these different groups coming into the SEC, different schedules happening. It's going to be interesting, but it's the best conference in the world, in my opinion. So we'll see. We'll see how that rolls.
What do you see out there for us?
Really good person, really good leader. Obviously, he's a two-time captain at Michigan State, and rightfully so. He's got really good leadership qualities, and I think that a lot of the guys trust him. And that's the main thing whenever you come in and you're a new guy on a team, especially a team that has some older guys on it, like myself, Cam, a bunch of other guys on the offense that have a lot of experience. So he's built a lot of trust, and that's a big thing for me.
How's he throwing the ball to the guys don't see it?
He's throwing really good. All three of them are, and that's the thing. Each guy brings a little bit different skill set to the fall, but we're going to check and see, and it's going to be fun. I mean, I'm an older guy. I've seen a lot of quarterback battles in the past. I mean, I've been around them with Bo coming in as a freshman, with Joey and Malik Willis, and all those guys. So I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Specifically, Payton, what does he do well quarterback?
I mean, he's just such a savvy quarterback. He's a savvy guy. I mean, he is a veteran quarterback, and you can tell he's got the swagger to him. He's got just that it factor when it comes down to experience, and he's got a lot of it, which I'm excited for.
What do you tell Peyton or some of the other quarterbacks that have come in over the years about the level of play in the SEC and how you have to adapt to it?
It's just a physical game, man. And you may think that if he's a quarterback, it's not as physical. Trust me, it is. It's a really physical game, and there's a lot of speed. From what I've heard and what I've played against, there's a lot of speed in the SEC, and that's something that you got to get used to coming from another conference.
Look, you've had a chance to be on the other side of the ball. What are your first impressions about Auburn's defense and what other SEC offenses are going to have problems playing against it?
Yeah, our defense, we've got a bunch of speed, a bunch of length. We have a really deep defensive line room, which is something that we needed, and we've got that now. And our secondary, everybody knows, is a very big part of our defense. We have a really strong secondary. So it feels like on those three levels, we've got a lot to work with this year, and it's gonna give us some pains in practice, but it'll be good come game time.
What was your initial thoughts when Hugh Freeze got the Auburn job, and the fact you went from a coach who really had no SEC background to a coach who's got a deep SEC background?
Yeah, I think experience in the SEC is always a positive, and we were sitting there figuring out, okay, who's going to be our coach. There's just a lot more. We're much more assured now, knowing who we have here, knowing what he's about. He's been in the SEC. He's beaten teams that we need. He's beaten Alabama. I know somebody wanted me to say it, but he's beaten Alabama, and it's a big deal. So I bought into what he's saying. Our team's bought into what he's saying, and we're kind of bringing a message as leaders that our young guys are starting to buy in as well.
How have you get to know him as a person?
Yeah, Coach Freeze he's a very kind of laid back guy. He's got a good sense of humor, We both enjoy some of the same things. We enjoy golf. We enjoy NASCAR. I grew up a NASCAR fan. My dad took me to races when I was a kid. So, yeah, he's an interesting dude. He really is. If you get to know him, sit down, talk to him, he's a really good guy.
Luke, you've been a part of some intense games with LSU over your career. What is it going to be like for you maybe when your career is done and they're not playing every single season? What do you think it's going to maybe kind of feel like as a viewer?
Yeah, I saw it for the first time. It was a little odd. I mean, it's an incredible rivalry. It really is. I've had some really special things happen down in Baton Rouge and some really cool things happen up here in Auburn against the Tigers. So, yeah, you're bringing in good talent, but the schedule's going to be ever-changing. College football is ever-changing, and we'll see. It's going to be weird for me to watch, though. It really is.
Does that make a sense that Hugh?
Well, he's molded with our group immediately. He's been a really good guy to add to the group because we have a really tight room, really mature room, really close room in terms of outside of football, and he's kind of fit in right there with that. He's really explosive. He's got really good hands, and he works hard, and that's a big thing. When you're joining a group that's so close, you cannot be on the outside and kind of do your own thing. He's working hard, and he's in with our group, so I think he's done a really good job.
And he kind of has the skill set to kind of kick out lines.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he did that a lot. We've got a bunch of guys in the room, everybody. I mean, we've got some real versatility in that room. It's a deep room. So.
Does that make sense that Hugh, there's a kind of a gratitude in him that he's back? That he had it, he lost it. He's back here in the SEC.
Absolutely. Like I said before, he's told us, operate out of your blessing, not your entitlement. I think that speaks to a lot of how he's operating. He's operating out of blessing, out of gratitude, and I respect that. I respect that as somebody who's been around for a while, and not as long as him, but I've been around for a little bit.
What's it been like getting to know Elijah, and what does it say that he's coming in and he's already here representing Auburn?
Well, I knew Elijah was going to be one of the top leaders on our team whenever I first met him. He is an outstanding human being. He makes me feel stupid though, because he's getting his PhD. He's like one of the most intelligent people I've known, but outstanding human, does so much for the community. Guys respect that. Guys respect the way he comes in each day and works. He comes in each day. He's always going to be talking in the team run. He's going to be leading vocally, and he's done that ever since he's been here. And he has done it in a way that's not pushy, but in a way that's assertive. And I really respect it. And he's one of my best friends, and I haven't even known him very long.
He's already done stuff for the community?
Yes, he's actually got a back-to-school drive coming here late in July, I believe. He's got a back-to-school drive just providing school supplies for kids from the local Boys and Girls Club. It's called the All for One Foundation. He's, like I said, outstanding in the community. I'll be there working the camp with him. He's doing it all, raising money or donating it himself out of his NIL money. So he's an outstanding human being.
You know better than a lot of guys the ups and downs. Not so much of winning and losing, but playing a lot, not playing a lot. Everybody thinks that they're going to play all the time, probably when they arrive. What do you tell young guys about what's ahead of them?
Man, I just don't listen to what other people tell you and what you should be doing. That's a big thing. A lot of people hear something so much. Oh, you should be doing this. You should be doing that. At the end of the day, in college football, the best player is going to play at that time. There's millions of dollars on the line. The best player is going to play. So get yourself better. Work on what you can work on. Control what you can control. And that's going to create your destiny. That's going to create your playing time. And I feel like so many people need to hear that, just because there are so many guys who expect to have a certain amount of this or expect this, but you work for every single bit of it in the SEC.
The guys over at Georgia are getting ready to work with Mike Bobo. What comes to mind when you think about the season he coached you and what you got to see from him?
Yeah, Coach Bobo's an incredible offensive mind. We had a lot of guys on the offense respect him, and he is a seasoned SEC coach. He's been around for a long time, and I think that there has to be something to say about that, about being around for a long time. I like Coach Bobo, and I wish him nothing but luck. And see how they do.
What advice